This is Real Estate Perspective 360. I'm your host, Steve Vazza. I have the pleasure of welcoming Jim Halliday today. Jim is the Managing Director at NB Development. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
We're glad to have you. Some exciting things are happening. You guys have been busy, in particular over at Boston Landing.
Yeah, Boston Landing is, we had a great year in 2017 in leasing up and stabilizing the properties built to date. Looking forward to those occupancies happening in 2018, adding to the population over there and putting our stamp on the placemaking.
Well, it's amazing. You and I were talking beforehand, and just growing up in the Boston area, we've watched that area, and specifically, what you guys have done. Such a fantastic job, but the transformation has just been incredible.
Yeah, we love to use that transformation theme. We go back to the history, 100 years of cattle grounds to rail yards, and its most recent incarnation was that of light industrial that had run its course, and those tenants had started to vacate, and so it provided an opportunity for what was that next vision of Boston Landing going to be. And fortunately, Jim Davis, owner of New Balance, and the family who've been over in that area for headquarters now over the last 40 plus years, was able to have a vision to do that.
They've been just tremendous for the area.
Yeah, it's it's one of these relationships we have with the community where it was really a joint effort with local leaders of the community, the city, and our project team.
Yeah. So, Boston Landing, obviously it's, 15-acre site. What's the overall, where are things at, and where do you see them going? And I know you guys had a fantastic 2017, and I'm assuming and hoping for you that 2018 is equally as good, if not better.
Yeah, so we've got, we're a little bit, in June we'll have completed a little bit over half of the planned project. It started off a couple years ago. We delivered the New Balance headquarters building. Mm-hmm. They had located from down the street at 20 Guest Street down to 100 Guest Street, from 150,000 square feet to 250,000 square feet with room to continue to expand their employee associate growth in that building. We followed that up. We went spec with a 250,000 square foot building at 80 Guest Street that also houses the Warrior Ice Arena and is the home of the Boston Bruins, and the Boston Bruins anchored that deal for us.
Project. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I just saw some stuff recently. I'm a big Bruins fan, and I was marveling at the new ice rink. Yeah,
the great part about that is they open their practices to the public, so it's been a great availability for people to come in, especially from the neighborhood, to watch them practice, take a little bit of pride in having the Bruins in the neighborhood.
It's fantastic. Now, do you do the property management there as well?
Yeah, so we actually, the property management reports into our group, but we do third party it out. We use Transwestern to do that, and they work on our leasing efforts as well for us.
Yeah, great firm. And as far as the the development over the next 12, 24 months. What's planned from a construction standpoint?
Yeah, so we're finishing up two projects right now. We've got 295 units that will be delivered in June of this year. Mm-hmm. And similarly, the Celtics practice facility, they're taking 70,000+ square feet in a building that's next to the Bruins. And then there's another 80,000 square feet in that building that we're leasing out to a great company called Mass Innovation Labs. They do a lot of accelerator impetus for tech and lab life science companies.
Yeah, and the units that are under construction, are those rental
those will be rental. Those will be rental and a mixture of studios, 1s, 2s, and 3 bedrooms.
Dynamic location.
Yeah, it's great. One of the great things about it, we brought in an investment partner for that, John Hancock Real Estate,
of course.
Which was really a great thing to bring them in. Gave us some visibility into Boston Landing really being viable by having a company like that come in and believe in us.
I mean, it's really a common theme here on Real Estate 360 that we talk about is the number of units that are coming online in Boston. And some people suggest that there may be too many. I personally don't buy into that theme. Yeah. I think that Boston is an absolutely dynamic city. The growth is unprecedented. We have just tremendous assets here in the city, and in particular, where you're developing as an example. I mean, there's just a phenomenal demand for rental properties.
Yeah, I think you see it with the migration of companies back into the city. We recently announced Bose Corporation coming in and taking 100,000 square feet to supplement what they do out at their headquarters out in Framingham. But so we're excited to have them come in. Also sort of completes a cultural fit that goes along with New Balance. Both companies are privately owned, invest in the long term, famous for innovation. So it's a concept we're really trying to develop.
And how about the ancillary amenities in the area? If it's part of your development, but I'm sure, all boats rise higher on a high tide.
That's right.
I mean, you've probably pulled that whole area up. I'm sure you're seeing all types of new retail and restaurants and bars and.
Yeah, so we've got 80,000 square feet planned for our sort of retail and amenity base here. We've got 30,000 square feet of that built out. All but 1,500 square feet has been accounted for with tenants. So we've got New Balance obviously has a great flagship presence in about an 8,500 square foot. But we brought in a company called CRE Coffee that out of Provincetown that's come in, and they're hitting it out of the park. Rail Stop Restaurant and Bar has come in. They're a group out of Gloucester that had a vision for coming in. They're a nice sit-down American cuisine restaurant. And then recently we brought in flatbread pizza and bowling, believe it or not. So they're taking sort of their concept in Davis Square. We kind of bring it over to ours, and they opened up just around Thanksgiving time, and it's been a great draw to the property as well. And then we just recently announced this week, Cambridge Naturals has a store over in Cambridge. They're a health and wellness company that they're going to open up a store this summer. So it's really giving us a good vibe in terms of that local New England-based kind of makers and things like that we're looking for.
So, you're the managing director, obviously you're not handling the day-to-day, marketing and whatnot. If somebody's interested, either a tenant or somebody's interested in the apartments or the retail, how does somebody get in touch with your firm? Who should they contact and how do they go about it?
Yeah, so the best way to start is to, either ask for myself, Jim, or Aaron Harvey at our main number, 617-987-2500. And one of us will get you pointed in the right direction depending on what project and what use it is.
Interesting. So outside of Boston Landing, you guys have a lot going on. How about some of your other projects? How are you seeing things in the Boston market and elsewhere?
Yeah, so the Boston market is something that we really appreciate. We've created a niche for ourselves in sort of being that west of the city alternative for companies that want to migrate in from the west. Maybe not want to go all the way into downtown or down into the seaport. We'll compete with those neighborhoods as well. But we find we compete well with those firms that maybe want the commuter rail. We opened up the commuter rail at Boston Landing.
Your access, you're right on the commuter rail. So as far as transportation goes, you're right at the forefront of it.
Correct.
Yeah. Which is absolutely phenomenal for and we all know that Route 2 corridor. The Mass Pike corridor coming down. Like you said, for those who don't want to, go the extra distance into the city and whatnot, Boston Landing is just a phenomenal location.
Yeah, and it's the train station we opened up last May, and that's something that we privately financed. We worked with the state and the MBTA in the city on that project. It was a great quasi-public-private venture. Our ability to fund it as part of the development costs allowed the state to be able to incorporate that project much sooner than they probably could have if they tried to do it on their own.
I was going to ask. It's interesting you brought that up because I was going to suggest that there must be a great working relationship with the state and the local city governments because again having grown up in the area, knowing what it was and what it is today. It's just a phenomenal transformation for everybody.
Yeah, and you know that train station and some of the other infrastructure work we've done there in advance of building out the entire project was key for making it feasible, being able to attract tenants. And you know, I had a great appreciation for the state's ability to incorporate a new train station into the middle of an operating train station, because they had to keep it operating and bypass, you know, the trains around it. It's no small feat, and the signalization work was, you know, just hats off to those guys for helping us figure out how to do it.
Yeah, that's great. So, well, I appreciate you coming in. Boston Landing is an exciting project. This is Jim Halliday from NB Development. We were talking today about Boston Landing. Check it out. Contact Jim. The number again, Jim?
It's 617-987-2500.
There you go.